I've had to do a lot of work and a lot of therapy to forgive myself. When my son was young, I wasn't a present mum. Yeah. The version of me at 31 when my whole life just imploded, she was just stuck in this story that I'm not good enough, I'm not lovable. I was in a relationship with an abusive partner, physically and mentally, coercive control. And this is when I used to use cocaine, and I also used to love a drink. Yeah, that was the worst. That was the worst time of my life, I think. I was so depressed, I was just broken. No, I was just an empty shell of a woman. I've got so much compassion for that young woman that felt so alone, and yeah, just, it's real for me. This conversation is so real for me, and you don't know what tomorrow brings, And it is, you could just kind of fast forward that tape and realise that you're going to miss the best years of your life. Like, you just have to hold on in there and know that the best is yet to come.
I'm on a mission to help the world to see success differently. We're sharing the stories of our guests. I hope to inspire those that listen. This is the Different Hats podcast, produced by H2 Productions. I hope you can join us on this journey.
Need a new van? Why not pop down to Rewrote in Brighton? Explore our range of new and used vans, lovingly prepared and ready to work just as hard as you do. Rewrote, making motoring manageable.
Okay, welcome to another episode of the podcast. I'm here with a very inspirational Laura Beddoe. Welcome, Laura. How are you?
I'm really, really good. I've just celebrated my 40th birthday in Paris. It was amazing.
Wow.
And I literally got fresh off the plane yesterday evening and then straight here with you.
Wow. Amazing. Well,
great.
Look, we always kick off with our check-in. I guess I'm trying to understand how you're coming in today, how you're landing, how's life at the moment, and I guess Laura Beddoe. You all right, mate?
Yes, I am all right. So life at the moment has just been incredible. It has been really good, but it's just coming off of the back of not such a great time. So I don't know whether you know about Chinese New Year's and so we just come out of the year of the snake.
Yes.
It's all about 2025 and up until the 17th of February. So I don't know when this is aired. So maybe it'll be aired after. So you'll be well out of the year of the snake. But if you're listening to this and there was anything that you was really unhappy with, listen to that uncomfortability, because it is shedding. Even though it might feel uncomfortable, which last year felt very uncomfortable for me and not so nice in my personal life, my business flying, it's now I'm starting to come through the other side, and I've got an amazing business, a beautiful 5-year-old daughter. My son is going to be 22. I know, it's crazy.
Wow.
I don't look
Wow.
20. No, like I've got 22 years old.
Yeah. Wow.
22 in April. But we had some struggles last year as well with him. And Matt happily married, happy to say. Obviously, we're going to talk about that more. And I have a global company we've just done our accounts and the bank is looking very healthy. So life is really good, I've got to say.
I love. Someone referenced that to me. Because I didn't really know about the year of the snake, because this year is going to be the year of the horse, right? And and I posted something the other day about bits and pieces of what's going on with me, and it was very much really resonated in the sense that the year of the snake, so shedding stuff. So I was letting go of a lot of things last year, and then but got a really clear purpose and mission where I'm going this year. So the year of the horse, you're striving on, and that's like, and it was just really interesting to those two comparisons. Letting go and then moving forward with stuff. So, that's interesting. It's really interesting.
Yeah, it's really interesting. That's the thing, is like, I'm really into manifestation, and I mean, honestly, obviously we're going to talk about my life, how it was and how it is now. And it is, and people, I think when they start following me on social media, they think, oh, it's all right for you. But I've come from absolutely nothing. And manifestation is scientific. And the formula really is about letting go of what no longer serves you first, instead of keep striving for more and more and more. And so many people that I know, they want more, but actually they're just trying to fill a void and avoiding the stuff that isn't serving them, or just, holding on to things that aren't serving them. So
is it because like when we're, because I resonate with that, like that almost chasing stuff or trying to, the busier I am, the more you distract. What I found, I guess probably especially the last year or so, is sitting with that uncomfortable silence, or just with discomfort, right? Just sitting with that discomfort. Like, do you think as individuals we try and avoid that as much as possible? I guess, and people you work with and speak to, is that generally what it is? We're just trying to avoid that because we don't want to sit in the discomfort.
Yeah, I think that we're conditioned as human beings to be distracted from ourselves because of commercialism. So if everybody all just stepped into their most aligned, confident selves, a lot of companies would be in big trouble, right? The health industry, for instance, for pharmaceutical companies, if we're sick, burnt out, confused, mental health, they're making money, right? Again, for the aesthetics businesses, fashion, all of these things would come crumbling down if we all just really leaned in and learned how to truly love ourselves and be in that zone of confidence, but also learning to sit in those uncomfortable feelings. And actually a really good tool that would be useful for everybody is an uncomfortable feeling. If you actually allow it and sit in that uncomfortability, it only lasts 90 seconds. If you actually sit in it, if you actually sit in the feeling of real sadness or anger, which a lot of us avoid anger because it's unsafe. We've seen it as unsafe, and it's just the way that we've been conditioned. And I'm a millennial, and I believe that it's our era of adults are all sort of breaking free of that, not talking about their emotions. And so, for instance, I'll just say about my mum. So my mum's got really serious mental health problems, and she will be 60 this year. So actually, I've been for years begging her to go to therapy. She really, really needs to go to therapy, but she just won't, because that isn't the thing. It's almost got that shame attached to it. And I think it's our generation now that are coming through that are realising that there's no shame in dealing with emotions that we've had to go through as children and that conditioning that we've had. Actually, it's so freeing. It's so freeing.
Yeah. There's so much in there for me. Like the sitting with your emotions and understanding your emotions. Like you mentioned a couple of emotions there about anger and stuff. But it's because I think you're right. We're programmed to see like anger or sadness and all of those things as almost negative emotions, right? Whereas what does it look like if we're teaching kids at a young age to understand that it's okay to feel different types of emotions? Do you know what I mean? Like, I think that I was never given them skills as kids, right? I'm obviously a few years older than you, but like we'd never given them skills. What would it look like? Imagine if we did create a society that was able to do that, really understand our emotions, articulate them, speak about them, and openly. Like, I think you're right. Like, is it that because of the capitalist society that we're in, they don't want us to do that? That's why the curriculum and the education system's still so fucked and so archaic, because it doesn't teach these type of things, which it should be, right?
It's about control. It's about control of sit at this desk, do as you're told, go and get a job, work till you're 60. You know, that is a very old, archaic system. And, you know, people like myself and you, we are breaking free out of that system I've created a business. I am, every day when I get out of bed, the business that I run, the clients that I have, I love my life. I've designed a life that I like. This morning I woke up and I was like, I'm going off to meet Sam. We're going to have a podcast. Then I've got a client call in the afternoon with my membership ladies called the High Caliber Speaker Circle. And they're just all absolutely incredible women. And then I'm going off to a really bougie event tonight. And that's my life. Like, I've designed that life. And yeah, I've designed it because I've learned to accept myself. And even what you've just said, so I've got a 22-year-old where I was completely conditioned asleep, followed that program that you were mentioning. And now I've got a 5-year-old where I'm just such a different mum. And I allow, I don't know if that's the right word, but I've learned to support her with her emotions, but that's really uncomfortable for me as well. Okay,
because we don't. Yeah, I'm really with you on that. I'm really with you on that. Yeah.
Honestly, so sometimes when she's having a meltdown, so I want it to be okay. And I've exactly the same as you. As a child, I wasn't able to express any emotion. Anger wasn't safe. Sadness was, oh, you're all right, you just get on with it, you know. And that, obviously we're going to go into more details about some of the other things, but that for me made me really suppress and numb as an adult. So then I turned to drink, you know, food, anything really that's not great. And that's the thing, is that I see it so frequently, is that people suppress their emotions. And now, actually, as you're probably going to find out on this podcast, I am very open about my emotions. And obviously the first time we met, I cried.
Oh, it was amazing. Well, you were so wonderful. You come up to, we was at the, we'll give Panina a shout, it was at the Acumen Business Convention, wasn't it? And you come up, we just started chatting, and you just really openly shared some of your story with me and got emotional. And I was so warmed by it, and just like, wow, it was such a powerful conversation in an environment that was like a convention, right? But it was just so, and I was just so inspired by you. And then obviously we kept in touch, and when you reached out, that's what one of the reasons I was so excited to obviously have you on and have this, because there's so much power in that vulnerability, right? There's so much inspiration and power behind that. And I think the more we share that, the more we give people permission to be like that, more impact hopefully we can have on the mental health crisis in the world, right?
And that's why I really wanted to be here, is that my life has really been affected by mental health at my mum, and just seeing it around me. So my son's 22 and his dad passed away last November. So no, November 2024, he passed away, and he was just clouded with addiction, really, really, really on a deep scale. And actually why I was really excited to be here is that I see what you're doing, and I just really want to be part of that mission to awaken. I work predominantly with women. I work one-to-one. I have a lot of one-to-one clients that are men, but if you look on my social media, it's more geared towards women. But actually, for me, speaking about mental health and helping men to be more vulnerable and share their story and actually start to speak to each other, that's why I thought, yeah, I really want to be a part of what you're doing, and any way that I can support it, because, yeah, it's really been a part of my life.
So I'm really grateful, and I think certainly, as we sort of mentioned offline before I come on, like one of the big things with You All Right Mate and the whole campaign and the movement I'm trying to build, one of the biggest things that's come out of the focus groups that we've held is how much the importance of engaging women in the conversation. Like, great, let's get men to talk more, let's get men to open up more, but actually it's got to be that not just men talking to men, it's got to be that we engage women in the conversation, that because a lot of people I'd spoke to were like, what great listeners women are, and when I've got problems I'll maybe go to a woman and I want to talk to them about that, but do you know what I mean, and open up. So it's a combination of that, and actually we're only going to impact this crisis if we're all in it together, right? And we're all supporting. So I am really grateful. But look, I'm really, you mentioned about the business, and I just, as always at the beginning, I do want to just get a picture of what you talk about, you've designed and created this life, but success, like what does, like how you just articulated there about what you've created there, but what does it, when I say success, what does it mean to you?
Success means to me freedom of the mind. So for me, so if you asked me that question 10 years ago, it would have been a very different answer.
What would it have been?
So it would have been very ego driven. It would have been about nice things. And I've got to say, I do like nice things.
But don't
I
we all,
like
right?
nice things,
Yeah.
and I like making money. And I'm just about to release a podcast called Unapologetic Wealth. So I am unapologetic about wanting a nice lifestyle. So it's freedom of choice, but also, so 10 years ago, I would have been sitting on a beautiful beach surrounded by nice things, but my mind was busy and just so in fear. I was just so in fear. I was
Of what? What was
I was driven by 100 forms of fear. It was more to prove myself why money was important to me, because I wanted to look a certain way. Mm-hmm. Now I've got the money and I don't feel like I need to prove myself to anybody. And that for me is success, because I get to make choices. So like, for instance, today, I didn't go to a 9-to-5 job. I'm sitting here with you and I'm still impacting thousands of lives every single day. And also I get to pick my daughter up from school today. I'm going to see her and spend time with her, and I'm a present mum. And that for me is the ultimate success. So when my son was little, I was just chasing success. But nothing was good enough. It was just filling this void, this hole inside of me that I wasn't good enough. And, you know, I've had to do a lot of work and a lot of therapy to forgive myself, because I'm going to get emotional now.
Take your time.
Because when my son was young, I wasn't a present mum. Yeah. And that's shit. Because I just wanted to be seen so much, but not for the right reasons. It was just to be validated. And I just see so many successful people that they're successful, but they're not inside. They're empty. And that to me isn't success. Success is going home and feeling grateful for your life. That's rich to me. Rich is waking up in the morning and looking at your wife or your husband and looking at them and thinking, wow, you inspire me. And you're showing up as the best version of yourself every day. That's what success means to me.
Wow, look, thank you for sharing. There's a couple of things, like we've one of the biggest things I guess I've learned, and the whole reason I'm trying to reframe what maybe that success is, and how you brilliantly articulated it there, like it's intrinsic, right? 100% it's intrinsic. It's not, but we live in a society that rewards and highlights the external validation, right? So that's but how do we? A couple of questions really. Firstly, how do we change that? Where do we start with that? And secondly, is it that you have to go through certain aspects of life, or you have to maybe face adversity, or you have to get to the top of the mountain to then understand what that really means to be successful? Do you know what I mean? Where do you think?
I think it's a choice. I think it's a choice that you make up. So I'm trained as a solution-focused psychotherapist, and I'm also trained as a business coach. So I just decided, but I was in a lot of pain. But you don't have to be in a lot of pain. I just had to be for me to change. And I think so many people wait until they're in that much pain. I had to hit complete rock bottom for me to really decide to change my life. But I wish that people didn't have to go there. I don't wish that what happened to me on anyone. So, yeah.
So could we then? Is it not a way? This is my, I guess, my dream. Back to then that first part of that question. Can we not teach this to young kids? Can we not teach what success really means to? I'm sitting there speaking to you, is even then, like you said, financially, and actually in a position now where you've created this life, this success from what society's narrative would be success, but it's a different form of success, and you can be super successful because you're intrinsically, so you know what it really means to be successful, which is the freedom of choice, the freedom of your mind, and being grateful for where you are, right? So that more intrinsic as opposed to that external. So can we teach that to young kids?
I believe that I believe each person, the more people come online and realise that the system that we're sending our children into, I actually, my daughter does go to generic school, but again, the difference is, so I can really tell you, because I've had children when I was unconscious, so I didn't really understand. I just went along with whatever the system told me I had to do with my son. I didn't know any different. I just thought that's the way that life is. So, but then awakening and realising that there is a better way. So I send my daughter to a generic school, and I don't know, is that what you call it? A generic school? What would you call it?
State school. Oh, no,
yeah,
no, yeah.
Yeah, like a, yeah. It's a
not a school.
So it's not a private school.
Yeah. Not private.
It's
state school.
It's a state school. Yeah. But the difference was when her little mind, I realised now. So from the age of 0 to 7, that's when you're creating your reality. So whatever your parents are teaching you in those ages, that is what you believe. Like basically your parents' mind is like, whatever your parents are saying to you, they're basically God to you from 0 to 7.
Yeah.
So when I was choosing my daughter's school, I was looking at the values of the school, and it's a brilliant school. Obviously, I'm not going to say it online. And it is a brilliant school. However, some of the education and the things that they teach, I don't fully agree with. My husband's more of the person that wanted her to go into the state school. I probably would have homeschooled, and there's a big community for that in Brighton.
Yeah, sure.
But yeah, he didn't want to do that. So, and I'm dyslexic, and I also ADHD. So yeah, I thought she needs that structure of the school, and my husband's very academic, and I'm very good with emotional intelligence and creative. So it works. And for her, some of the, obviously I'm teaching her as well. So I do use the word God, and she does go to a religious school, but the way that I think of God, the universe, whatever, spirit guides, people call it different things, is, I don't think it's the way that a Christian Bible explains it. So I'm infusing these values into her. And do you know what the main key factor, if you're thinking, how do I not F this child up, which most parents are, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? Yeah. How can I be the best? Like, how can I not do it like my parents? Most of us. But I'm going to just let you in with a secret. There is no right way, right? There is no right way.
There's no rule book, right?
Yeah. So, I think the values, and the main thing is, does she feel safe and good enough? And again, going back to what we were saying before, expressing her emotions. So she says, we always joke about it, like, I'm teaching her to be an empowered woman. She's really empowered. She really knows how to say no.
Love it.
So I think it's just infusing that, teaching them to have a voice, and that it's okay and it's safe for them to express their opinion. Obviously, it's not always going to be right. She's 5.
Yeah, and it's so interesting because I really resonate with what you're saying, because I've got obviously the twins. They're 10, 2 girls, and I'm like, and again, like, my wife really academic, so she's like, they go down this structure, and for, like, when the school says, oh, they're a little bit behind, I'm like, behind what? Like, it's up, like, the whole system, like, just infuriate. So, and because we've got 2 at the same age in the same school, the comparison is like, one is like my wife, academic, and the other one's like me, more emotionally aware. And that's why the reason I'm doing the programme, we're going in, we're teaching emotional literacy in schools. That's what I think at year 6, to 10 years old, we're going in and we do a 7-week program talking about success and trying to teach these kids around emotional, because I want them to be recognised and praised for their emotional literacy as opposed to just academic intelligence, because emotional intelligence is what's going to actually help them in later life, right? All of the stuff that we're talking about now and what you share with your daughter, and giving her them skills, giving them those values and all of them things that are so intrinsically important to what it really means to be successful. Back to how you articulated it, right? Finding that we can do that. And for me, that's where the biggest impact helps with the mental health crisis. That's where we start to reduce suicide rates, because people are understanding their emotions, right? And we're recognising emotional intelligence more so than academic intelligence, I think.
And just going back to what you said, it is. So I am a bit of a workaholic. I am, and it is, but it's a healthier habit than ones that I've had in the past. Let's put it that way. But it's the only thing that, in a bit of an addiction, that is praised. But I have to be careful with it, because again, it's balance. It's just balancing. So it's realising and putting boundaries in place and teaching children about that as well. Like, where are the boundaries? So it's like, obviously, children these days, I think it's coming in that you have to be 16 soon by law to go on social media. Thank goodness for that.
100% that.
Honestly.
Because Australia have started, I think it started in Australia with banned it, and then, I think it, hopefully it's going to come here as well, and it should be. You're absolutely right, like, because how damaging it could be. Like I said, even when we're going into the schools, right, and we're the kids, and we ask them what do they think success is, and they go and write on a bit of paper what they think, like what word comes, and what's the words that are coming up? Rich, famous, money. Do you know what I mean? And you ask who's a successful person? Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos. Like, people like, and you're like, wow, that's at 10 years old. They're already, that's what the view of success is. And you're like, it's got, I don't know, there's got to be a change in that. And that comes from social media, and comes from the society and the reality of the world that we live in, right? But I think if we can get in and we can change them. But then, let's we're talking about that age group and going back. Let's go back to the start of you growing up, and what do I need to know about Laura that I guess shaped who sits in front of us?
Well, there wasn't much shaping. Let's just put it that way. There wasn't much shaping. So the woman that you see here, sitting here, has shaped herself. So through therapy, through investing in myself, getting really good mentors, through finding people that inspire me and asking for advice from them rather than somebody that is not going anywhere. So going back to little Laura. So I was adopted by a lovely man who I call my dad. And my mum and him, they just wasn't meant to be together, bless them. I look at them now, I'm like, how did that work?
Yeah.
So, he met my mum when I was 9 months old. And as I said, I think my mum's probably autistic, but now it's coming out years down the line. A lot of women are now getting diagnosed with autism and ADHD. Whereas I didn't recognise it back then. And now it really clicks into place, some of the things that my mum does. And I really do have compassion for her now, whereas I didn't used to have a lot of compassion for her. And I was dragged up, really. There was a lot of violence in the house, a lot of just, it was very toxic, a very toxic environment. And didn't have any structure, didn't have any boundary. I didn't know what boundary was, Sam. I remember when somebody said to me about boundaries, I was like, what is a boundary? Wow. Explain it. So there wasn't much structure. I was allowed to just go out. I think I used to come in at 9 o'clock at night, about 11.
Wow.
There wasn't any structure and there wasn't any boundaries. So there was a young girl just feeling very invisible. Lots going on at home and then going to school. So I've been going through the process of being diagnosed with ADHD, and I was always called a daydreamer. And I would get in trouble because I'd do all my work and then I'd just mess about. So I had all of that going on at home. I was constantly being told at school that I was naughty and getting sent out, and I was just a really cute little girl. I just look back now, I'm like, how could you say some of the things that the teachers said to me? So now, obviously, they've got these sensory rooms that they can put children into. I'm like, I went to the one in my daughter's school. I was like, I would have loved this room.
It's great that it is recognised now more, and they do, and there is that support there. Still probably not enough, but it's a start, right? There's definitely more support and more awareness around neurodiversity, right? Which is so important. But you're right, like you go back to, like I said, I'm a few years older than you, but there's still, I remember going back to school and there was just, you was the naughty kid if you was, if you had a neurodiversity, or you even naughty or thick kid, right? I mean, that was certainly the narrative that I think I was never naughty. I was always quite a good boy, really, but maybe not the most academic because you don't fit into that thing. So similar, yeah. So yeah, I'll get you. Like there is definitely, thankfully, there's a bit of a change there in that sense. But so did you enjoy school though? Was it
So I hated school.
Oh, really?
Absolutely hated it. So as I was saying, I went, that was infant school, and then went up to secondary school, and where I'd been told so many times you're naughty, and then I was going at home and my mum would say awful things to me as well, about the way I looked. And just went to secondary school. I thought, well, if everyone's telling me I'm naughty, I'm going to show them what naughty is. And then I was very naughty. I think it's some of the things that I did. It's just wild. And it's because I felt invisible, and that was the first time. So I think this is really important. And the reason that I'm telling this story is because when children feel invisible, if you're giving them children don't care whether you're giving them negative feedback or positive feedback. Right? So I was constantly getting negative feedback, but it was still, I was getting attention. So that was the way that I felt visible. So I played up to that. It was a role that I then took on and thought, I'm going to be the naughty girl because that's how I get attention.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and obviously later in life, I realised that. But I'd thought that was, so we have an identity that we take on. But we can change our identity at any point.
Do you believe that? Do you think that? And how do you decide to change? Like, is it just recognising traits in yourself, or did you recognise traits in yourself? I don't like that. I want to change, and you got to take, I guess, responsibility for going. Because I guess that, like, well, we mentioned a bit offline, like that choice in life, right? That we all potentially have a choice of how we show up. Right, not necessarily about the circumstances that we're in. Sometimes things happen to us. That's life, right? And things happen to us, and we can't, sometimes out of our control, or we can't. But we do have control on a choice of how we react to those situations, don't we?
Yeah. So obviously we're all born into we get born into this life. We don't ask for it. So we then go through the conditioning of either accepting that is our mould and that's set. Or we can go through life and then realise, actually, I don't actually like this mould. I want to change it. And it's about realising that, stop blaming everybody else for starters. Stop saying, well, it's their fault. It's my mum and dad's fault because they did this. Or it's the school's fault because they did that. Actually, no, I'm a grown woman now. I'm 40 years old, right? So I don't need to hang on to that story anymore. I can create my own story, my own narrative. And all of us are able to do that. But then it does take a lot of courage. There's going to be people that are going to fall away out of your life. There's going to be difficult scenarios where you have to stop people pleasing. You have to grow a backbone. You have to say no to things that you don't want.
Did you find that difficult to say no?
So difficult.
Really?
I still struggle with placing boundaries today, but I've got a lot better at it. I've had to, because I run a global company. I've got 3 people that work for me. I have, I believe, 41 clients right now. Nice. I have I'm married. I have to have boundaries in my life today, because otherwise I would just be completely burnt out. But sometimes it's difficult.
And with, you said about obviously that relationship with your mum. Have you ever spoke to her about with the new you? I guess the work you've done on yourself and the woman obviously you've become, and like, have you ever spoke to her about?
I've tried. She's just not. Some people are supposed to wake up in this life and some people are not. And it's about that acceptance. She's not able to, she hasn't got the capacity to hear me because she's so trapped. So obviously there's a scales of depression and there's levels of depression. And depression is where you're stuck in the past. Anxiety is when you're afraid of the future. And the key is to be present in the now, because all we have is this moment. Yeah, and we can't go back, we can't go forward. We can only be right here now, in this moment together. There's nothing else. It's mental, isn't it?
But that when did that realisation happen for you? Because I'm 100% that one of the 5 pillars is presence, right? Because 140 nearly conversations now, and the framework that come out of it was this thing, and presence was probably one of the biggest lessons I'd learned from all them conversations was exactly how you just articulated. Right, I can't change what happened yesterday, and I actually don't know what tomorrow's going to bring. So now's all there is, right? And I'm not. And I've said it a few times on here. One of the things I love about doing this the most is because you have to be in the moment. Right? I'm sitting there having an amazing conversation with you. I'm listening to what you're saying. I want to respond to stuff that you come out with, and I'm like, so it forces you to listen and be in the moment. And it's probably the most present I am, and I'm trying to take what get from this into every aspect of my life, like when I'm with the kids and trying to be there, as opposed to thinking I've got to do that or I've got to do that. You know what I mean?
It's challenging though.
It is, yeah.
It's really challenging.
Especially when you're ambitious, like with you, you've got a global company, right? So you're on all of the time, right? What advice do you give people, like, and how do you stay, I guess, present?
So I'm just going to answer the question about my mum anyway, though. So that scale. So she's stuck in that depression. So her mind is clouded, right? So when you're stuck in a depression, it's like this deep fog that you're stuck within, and there's no judgment. I was there, just stuck in this story. So we have this story that's this loop. It's a loop going on in your mind every day. You wake up and you're operating on the same story. That's the programming that you've given yourself. And a lot of people have worked with me, and they're in their 50s, and they've just been running on that story that they're telling themselves, that I'm not good enough, I'm an imposter, there's lots of different stories that we can tell ourselves. So the version of me at 31, when my whole life just imploded, she was just stuck in this story that I'm not good enough, I'm not lovable, I'm just chasing this. So it's just stuck in that story. And then, so my mum's stuck in that story. But how you change the story is, again, you have to get present in the now. But it's really difficult. You can't do it all the time, okay? Because it's a challenge. Yeah. It's a real challenge, because you get stuck in that loop. It can crop up again and again. And being a solution-focused psychotherapist, I can then get into a new story that I've created. It's like, oh, well, you should know better than this. It's like this other little story that crops up, like, and it's just about realising the pattern that's cropping up, and then going, I know this little story, you sneaky little shit. It just creeps back in. So it's just being conscious of your stream of thoughts. Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
I'm sorry,
No, very much so. But I'm wondering whether, like, with your mum, like that relationship, but her seeing you change that narrative, change your story, right, in your head, and actually then go and thrive. Like, is there nothing there that for her does she just not recognise that? Or
I think it pisses her off, honestly.
Really?
Yeah. Because what happens is and I'm sure that you've found this because you've changed a lot as well, when you start to change and better yourself, it triggers people that because they then think that they need to do something about themselves, and they don't want to. Or that they make up a story in their mind, like, oh, she's full of herself now. Oh, she's stuck up now. But I'm not. It's just that I have better standards and better boundaries, so I won't always say yes. And that's what I mean about people will naturally fall away. My mum hasn't fallen away, and she does say to me on the odd occasion that she's proud of me, which is nice. However, she also makes little snidey digs sometimes.
Does that, do you, so I think all of us as individuals, there's some form of, we talked about validation earlier, like, ultimately, the people we probably want the most validation from is our parents, right? We want them to really see and hear us and make us, be proud of it. Have you completely been able to let that go now? Or
I have, yeah.
Really?
Because
amazing.
What I believe and what I teach is we have to become our own inner parent first. So I'm proud of me. So therefore, everybody else's validation is not really that important anymore, because every day I wake up, I have rituals and routines to get into alignment and to be present as I possibly can, like breath work, meditation, cold sea swimming, I know you do that as well, or cold shower. I do things to really get that dopamine hit in a good way rather than like smoking, drinking,
Social
whatever
media,
else.
yeah.
So then I also do a gratitude list every day, but not like, oh, I'm grateful for my kids. I actually give proper reasons, like why I'm grateful, to really get into that feeling of gratitude. And when you get into the feeling of gratitude and you start to notice things around you, rather than your brain searching for the story, the narrative that you're locked into, if your story is I'm not good enough, for instance, let's just go with that loop, because that's one I know.
And me both.
And so then your brain, it's science, neuroscience, that when our brain it has core, so a lot of people say to me, by the time they get to me, that I've tried all these different therapies, and hypnotherapy is one of the things a tool that I use. So when you have that story of I'm not good enough, you have all of these little core beliefs and you'll be looking for signs outside of you that are searching for that to be true. Okay. Oh, well, they didn't text me back. See, I'm not good enough. But when you get into the attitude of gratitude and you get into the attitude of being present, so you have like these two voices, if you like. So one of my voices in my it sounds a bit weird, doesn't it? One of my voices is like an absolute bitch, like proper little absolute, CUNT sometimes. Excuse my language, maybe cut that out. She's not very nice. And then the other one, which is louder now, which I've had to train, she is like my biggest champion. She's like, when the best way to describe it, when you're, I don't know, have you ever done a spin class or the sea swim, right? And you're getting in, you're thinking, oh, I can't do this. You've got one voice that is saying, I can't do this, too cold today, blah, 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 and it's all that little monkey mind going off. Yeah. And then you get in and there's another one like, yes, you can do it. We're doing it. It's a bit like that. So I've just trained I've made this voice, befriended it, because this little bitchy voice, actually, it's just a part of me that wants to be loved. So how you change your life and how you make better choices and how you make better boundaries and all of the things that we've talked about is just by realising, instead of trying to drown that one out and telling it to F off, which most people do, or some people are just not conscious of any of this. They're it's just a noise, right? That they believe that all whatever that's saying, and that's where my mum is, right? So the monkey mind in her head is, well, I wouldn't like to be in there.
Just overwhelming.
But yeah, I've just trained that part of my brain that's more of she's like my cheerleader. She's like, come on, girl, you've got this.
But how do you, because I'm really keen to, like, a couple of things. Some people listening, I guess, they're going, where do I start with that? Because at the moment, I'm really struggling then. And at the moment, my monkey mind is a lot louder than my champion over here. So how do you go? Because when you're thriving and you feel in a great position, like, I guess it's easier to listen to the champion because you go, yeah, I feel great. And I'm like, but how do you combat that when you're feeling maybe you're struggling at the moment, and that voice, the voice over here, the bitch, is becoming really fucking loud, and this one's shrinking a little bit? What advice do you give someone there?
Well, first of all, it's just recognising that it's just a story. Yeah. It's just a story. It's an old story that will be attached to something that happened. So I use EFT a lot. So even this morning, emotional freedom technique. So it's tapping on the different meridian points, and I can send you some videos as well. Please, it's great for anybody that's listening to this podcast. EFT is next level to really understand what the story is. But again, some people are going to be stuck in not knowing that there's a story right now. So that's when you start to become conscious of your thinking. So it's mindfulness, right? So where to start is sitting with yourself, like you said that you've started to do, and actually just sitting in silence, and for even a minute, and just tuning into, like, it's almost as if we could just practice. Do you want to just practice it so
Yeah,
people can actually try it at home?
Yeah.
Okay, so if it feels good and safe for you, if you're listening to this and it feels good and safe for you to do so, just take your shoes off. Well, obviously we're not going to do that now, but take your shoes off and put your feet on the floor. And I remember the first time I ever meditated, by the way, and I was like, someone's going to see me, they're going to think I'm mental. Now I do it anywhere, on a bus. I just couldn't give an absolute AF. I just, no. So, yeah. So, again, this is not meditation. This is more mindfulness. So if you've got quite a racing mind, like mine is and can be, meditation just like, okay. So, yeah, this is more mindfulness. So it's just closing your eyes and then just scanning from those feet up through those legs, up through your chest and your back, just noticing. So even if your mind starts to wander, just bringing it back to calling your energy back into your body now. And then through those arms, up. And then up to the top of your head, and then back down. Through those arms. So just noticing the energy there. So we've all got energy there. And then down back into that pelvis, through those legs. And then just sitting and actually just observing. You might have negative thoughts coming in. You might have no thoughts coming in, but everything is okay. Because thoughts are just that. It's just a thought. Just sitting with yourself and just noticing anything that comes up and opening your eyes. And then quite literally taking a pen to paper and just getting it out. So what is going on in my mind? Is it positive? Is it, but without judgment? Because then you can actually see it.
Because so do you journal?
I journal a lot. Yeah, I journal a lot.
Because and I think I shared recently on a thing, like I for the people used to say to me all the time, "Oh, you should journal. You're quite a deep thinker, and you should really journal." You should, and every time I sat there, I was like, I couldn't do it. And then when I'd done the breath work with Sam Adams, I literally come out and I was like, and I literally wrote a book. Like, I was just couldn't stop writing, and all that suppressed emotion. And actually, it's really helped me. Like over the last years, first time I've ever journaled. But you're right, like just trying to sit in that moment and just get it all out on paper, because then it's there, right? And you can see it, you can read back over it, but just trying to, I guess, it's the understanding. It's trying to understand yourself a bit more. And by writing it down and getting it out, I feel for me anyway, it started to help me to understand myself a little bit more and what I was actually really feeling. And I think that's the difficult thing, because I think that, again, back to what we stated at the start about people, it's uncomfortable. Huh? It's uncomfortable to do what we've just done, to sit there in that silence and actually notice how I'm feeling can be uncomfortable, and people want to avoid discomfort. So we go, oh, well, I'm not going to do that. But so do you start your day like that most days, or
every day?
Really?
I have to.
Yeah.
Otherwise I become crazy.
Yeah, wow.
Quick. I have to tap into the way I'm feeling. So obviously I haven't shared what actually happened.
Yeah, well, maybe let's go, if we can, and let's go. Because it'd be really interesting because where you are, like you can see the enthusiasm and how much like you just this amazing energy coming off you, right? Like the way you talk about your work stuff and how you are as a person now and stuff like. But it's obviously not always been like that. And there was a turning point. So talk me through, if we can, go back to, because you said about 9 years ago or so.
Yeah, so I mean, everyone's got, if you're above 30, you've got a few stories in there, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So we'll go with the one where I was in a relationship with an abusive partner, physically and mentally, coercive control. And I was completely brainwashed by him. And I left my job, and then it got really bad. I mean, really, really bad. And yeah, I went on a holiday with some of his friends, and this is when I used to use cocaine, and I also used to love a drink. And yeah, that was the worst. That was the worst time of my life, I think. I came back, and then he was just so abusive. Wanted me to fit in with everybody.
Physically as well as...
Yeah, with his friends. And I needed to look a certain way, be a certain way, but behind closed doors, it was just awful. And when I came back from that, I was just broken. I was broken inside. And then we split up, which I thought was the worst thing ever. So I'd lost my job. We split up, which I really thought was awful. And then I had bailiffs knocking on the door. I was in so much debt. And then I got a letter through the post to say I had to move out of the flat that I was renting in a month's time. Now, I went and got some advice, and they said to me, you have to stay in the flat. For you, at that time, I think it was about £4,000 I needed to put down as a deposit to go and rent somewhere else. And I didn't have that money. So I gave an advice. I had to stay in the flat until... So bailiffs knocking on the door, which was really stressful, like really, really stressful. I had my boy, who was 12 at the time, and I just remember one day I was just sitting, and I was so depressed, I was just broken. I was just an empty shell of a woman. I was really in a bad place. And I remember I just used to stare at this tree, just to sit and stare at this tree, thinking, what am I going to do to? How has my life come to this? Because on the outside, I still looked like an attractive woman that had it together. I really did.
Wow, yeah.
But in the inside, I was just completely broken. And I remember the day when I had friends help me move, and I literally could only take... So we ended up in a homeless shelter for domestic violence, me and my son. And my friends come and help me, and I couldn't get all. It was this tiny little one-room studio, and I mean, there was mould growing on the walls. It was pretty bad. But actually, before that, I'd started to already do a bit of gratitude and journaling. And I remember somebody said to me, just keep writing down, I'm really grateful for the space filled with love. And I used to listen to Louise Hay a lot. And even though this place, it was pretty bad. It was pretty bad. And the first thing I noticed when I walked through the doors, there's this little... I mean, it was really grim. It's basically where they put like crackheads, really. It was like a lot of... Yeah, it was pretty bad. And it was quite scary at night as well. You hear all these like stuff going on. But on the wall, there was this sign saying love, and I just had this feeling of like, I'm going to be all right. But it was when me and my son were laying on the bed together, it was just like something inside of me just snapped, and I was just like, because I'd had abusive partners before that as well, and I thought, I'm never going to put my boy through this again. Something has to change, and that thing needs to be me. And yeah, I thought I'll do whatever it takes to make my life better. And yeah, I kind of had like a moment, and I was on this bed, and I just prayed. I just prayed. I was like, and I felt ridiculous. I was like, if there's anything out there, if there's a God, if there's anything, if I change myself, I'll teach it to as many people as I possibly can. And yeah, I went to women's circles. I did a lot of therapy. I did hypnotherapy, which is why I was really interested in getting a therapist, but I was in loads of debt. So I was listening to lots of manifestation videos. I saw this advert pop up on Facebook. It's this woman who I'm really good friends with now. And it was a free group, and she was talking about mindset and manifestation, and I was like, I'm just going to do whatever she says. And like little by little, I started to manifest. Like I had a free life coaching course that was given to me by the government, and I just changed. I just completely flipped it around. And then I met my husband, who I didn't know would be my husband at the time, and I had nothing. I was still living in this little one room studio that was so bad. I mean, I've got pictures of some of the shoes that had where I'd put them in this little cupboard and they all got mould on them where it was so damp in there. But I made it look nice and I got on with it. And you know what? I'm so grateful for that experience, because, and I know that sounds mad to people, because it is the thing that made me realise what true success is, and what it's an internal feeling. It's not, and when you've had nothing, you become dangerous, because you like nothing can be worse than that for me.
I just wanted to take a moment to talk about one of our sponsors, Nostos, an authentic experience of Greece right here in the heart of Hove. In a world brimming with dining options, finding that one place that captivates your palate and heart isn't always easy. It's about more than food. It's the stories, the ambience, the slice of another world. This is the essence of Nostos, an award-winning Greek restaurant. With traditional recipes passed down through generations, each dish promises a story and a piece of heritage. And Nostos is more than just a restaurant, it's a community contributor. Each dining experience supports initiatives close to their heart, from local charities to cultural events enriching Brighton and Hove's social fabric. They also provide catering services, bringing Greek cuisine to your personal events. For a taste of Greece without leaving town, visit nostos-hove.co.uk. And when you do go, say Sam recommended the feta nests. Oh my God, they are amazing.
Because is it like, some people say, don't they, you get like, when you hit rock bottom like that again, we can either let it consume us so much, or the only way is going to be up. It can't get worse than so, like you said, again, back to choices. There was that, I guess, that moment that you made a conscious choice to go, I'm going to do what I can to change this. I guess it's change, like you said, it's changing that pattern of behaviour. Well, I guess that's the key, isn't it? Like, because you mentioned there about obviously previous abusive relationships as well, and just repeating patterns until you break that up. But I guess just trying to, again, for listeners and people who are maybe stuck at the moment in difficult situation, whether it be an abusive relationship or whatever the challenge is, and maybe not as low or as low as that rock bottom. Just take me back to that feeling, that's that thing that snapped in you. What was it? Where did that?
I don't know.
Yeah.
That's the honest answer. I can't. I think it was the. I'm going to change that, actually. I do know this is my life's purpose. My life's purpose is it's to activate and be that ignition for other people now. So I believe that whatever you're going through, no matter how, and I can swear on it,
yeah, of course.
How shit it gets, it's your wake-up call. It's just something trying to shake you and say, wake up, come on, there's more to life than this. You don't have to keep staying in that cycle. You don't have to believe that story anymore. And you might be listening to this and say, well, it's all right for you. Well, no, I still have things happen in my life today that I've, like, even the past year, me and my husband nearly separated, and he has his own, and I've had permission from my husband to share this. And I think it's really important. And I think this is probably why I'm here, to be honest, is because, especially for men, they find it more difficult to talk, right? And to express how they're feeling. And obviously it's like men specifically, it's like financial pressures for men is really,
Well, within the suicide rate, 60% of suicides are finance or economic related issues. That's where 84 men die of suicide every week in the UK. So, which is it's the biggest killer, right? So it's just them statistics are tragic. But you go, actually, when you take the percentage of those that are finance, it is to do with that, like that. And the feelings of failure and lack, and that's why they feel like that's the only way out. But
yeah. And I personally know 10 men personally that have committed suicide. 10.
Wow.
That is, to me, that is insanity.
That they feel like that's
That's
the only way out. Like, and it's so hard, isn't it? Because you know, I've done some suicide prevention training, and there's so much shame around it, which is one of the things that's so important to talk about. But my understanding, the conversations I've had around it is that most of these people don't want to die. They just want the pain. I mean, so much pain. They want the pain to end. And I guess just listening to your story, why one of the biggest things, and one that I'm so passionate about, having these type of conversations, and because if just one person listens and listening to your story and feeling like shit and feeling as low and as we can, that maybe this just gives a little bit of hope, right? And that word hope I use, and I had the podcast that come out, we're recording on Tuesday now, the podcast that come out today, a woman called Charlotte Rika, and she was talking about glimmers, the little glimmers, right? And I wonder, then back to your moment, like you talk about that moment of seeing that sign of love or something. It's sometimes it can be the smallest of glimmers, right? And when we're feeling so low that, and it doesn't seem like, because my understanding, and especially when being in some dark places I have personally, but like when you feel that low, or you're depressed, or you're at rock bottom, trying to find those glimmers is hard, right? You go like, it's okay to say practice gratitude, but I'm fucking really, I'm in a bad way, right? But I do believe that we can find the smallest thing sometimes, and it can. And I think when the suicide prevention training went on, it was that, like, having those conversations with someone. Just if we can, just find something that just is enough to give them hope for the next day, even if it's just the next day, right, to keep them safe. And I think that's why, again, I'm so grateful for you being on and sharing so openly about your journey, to be able to, if it does, just give someone that little bit of hope, right? And it's interesting because, like I said, what I took from your story was maybe that was that little glimmer, that seeing the love or whatever it is, that there's something inside. You just need a little bit of something to.
Yeah, and I think that is the absolute key, is that it's almost like fast forwarding tape, right? And if I think about my life and what I've achieved now, so I've tried to take my own life on several occasions, and now I look back and I just think, wow, all this life I would have missed. Like my daughter, I never knew. Like, I'm going to get emotional again. Like 15 years later. So I'm actually going to release a book this year. But 15 years later, like, I didn't have any idea that I was going to have a beautiful little girl. No idea. Yeah, you just don't. You don't know what tomorrow brings. And it is, you could just got to fast forward that tape and realise, like, you're going to miss the best years of your life. Like, you just have to hold on in there and know that, like, the best is yet to come. Like if I look at my life of like that day, so it was a terrible day. It took 5 hours to talk me off of a cliff top. It was really bad, and it was very bad. It was very close, and that version of me, I know I've got so much compassion for that young woman that felt so alone, and just, it's real for me. This conversation is so real for me. And just, there's so much life that I've just had the most incredible, like the last 5 years, like some of the things that I've done are just, I never knew that was in the future. So you just don't know. You just don't know what's in the future. And again, it just comes back to choices and just believing in yourself. Just dig deep and just know that, you were put on this earth for a reason, right? All of us are. Whether it is to be a good role model to it looks different from person to person, right?
Yeah, cool.
And I just think, like, my son, he's 22 now, like, he wouldn't have had a mum. Like, how different would that be for him? And now he gets to see me with the success that I've got and being an amazing role model for him. And now he's got a stepdad, and it's just holding on in there and hunkering down and just being like, you've got this. And you just don't know. You just don't know what the future's going to hold.
Oh, wow. Thank you for sharing that. You're such an inspiration. You really are. Like, wow. I wonder with like all of what you've learned and what you teach now and how you help other people, and I could see the emotion there, feeling like what that Laura back then. Like what would you say to her? Back
So
to that.
many things. Mostly get rid of those idiot men that you think are great. Bloody hell. I look back at pictures and I think, you really, in the future, you are not going to be sad about this man, okay?
Yeah.
I would say you're absolutely beautiful and enjoy that body because you are so skinny. I look back at pictures. I used to think I've got body dysmorphia, and I look back at pictures and I think, I don't know what I was worried about. Like, just enjoy that body. I would say, drink a little bit less, babe. And I would say, honestly, if I could go back and have the mindset that I have now, that body, I would be an absolute weapon.
Bless you.
Because I really just didn't have any self-esteem. And yeah, I would say chin up and believe in yourself more, because you don't know what you're capable of, and you're going to be very successful.
And again, like I say, I'll keep coming back to that word hope. Right? Like listening to you talk, as dark as it can get for some people. All of, I can't even imagine that feeling, like you said, with your son and being in that situation and homeless. But then, like you say, even prior to that, like being in a darker place of what. Not wanting to be here anymore, right? I've had that feeling and this, but again, just trying to find whatever we can, those little glimmers that we can just go, those little bits of hope that you just go, because like you said, if we can change that story and that narrative in our head, and we can create an amazing story like you have, right? Like this incredible journey that you've been on, and for people to just look and go, there's hope there. There's hope there for me.
There's so much hope. There's so much hope. And that's the thing, is that nothing's permanent.
Yeah.
Like, one of the facts of life is that everything is always ever-evolving, changing.
Yeah.
So I believe that if you're at that low point right now and you're listening, or maybe you're not there, I hope you're not, okay? But even if you're just having a bit of a shitty time, it's not... Nothing lasts. It doesn't last. It changes. And there's so much support, and there are amazing people out there. There are some, you've got two of them right here, right? And I just, you just don't know. It's what you fuel today with. So going back to being present, is what you're inputting today is going to create your tomorrow. So input the good stuff, and that goes for so many things like food, social media. If social media is getting you down, it's full of drama, delete those people. You don't need to look at it. Yeah. If you're comparing yourself to people online, oh, it's all right for them, look at them, see that, start to use that as your fuel. Oh my God, look at what they're doing, I can do that. What do I need to change to get that? Start seeing things, reframing things in a different way, rather than poor me, poor me, poor me. And of course, feel that feeling. But how can I find and get myself into the surroundings of people that, even if that you've got that little bitch, or I don't know what yours is.
I won't use the word on here.
Like, even if that's louder, because it is right now, or that you're just stuck in that, can't get around people that can be that voice for you to be like, come on, mate.
There's a couple of things. I wonder when you was in those times, did you feel like, did you feel okay to talk to other people? Did you want to talk to other? Did you have a circle of people around you that you could talk to? So again, that's a big thing. And one of the things I'm really trying to get across is the importance of reaching out and asking for help. Right. But one thing I've worked out, or I've learned, I guess, from my own experience and these type of conversations, actually, and one of the things that the whole "You All Right Mate" campaign is going to be about is not just because me saying to you "You all right, mate," but if you're in a really low place, you might not want to tell me.
You say, "I'm fine."
Yeah, and we do. That's our default, right? Yeah. So it's trying to encourage people to go, "No, I really want to know how you are." And actually, sometimes I wonder whether it's not just asking, because people are not in that place to want to respond. Is it that the glimmer, the hope, is just going, I just want to let you know I'm thinking about you today. You all right, mate? It's just going, I love you, or I think you're amazing, or something that just lands with someone just to feel that they're, because I think the same, again, back to, I guess the thing I'm trying to do, especially with men, we find it really hard to talk, probably more so than maybe women. But I'm trying to, like, for you and your story, like especially when you was in the, I guess, in the studio and that period of time, just what type of people did you surround yourself with, and how did you that help you?
Well, my story was very slow.
Yeah.
So actually, somebody gave me, so a friend of mine gave me the book The Secret. And that's why I read that first. But then it was all about material. What can I get? What can I get? What can I get? Rather than thinking about how can I change the internal landscape, right? So, I still went for, so something that we do, again, it's whatever's happening for us from 0 to 7 is what we then accept in our life. So that's why I was attracting relationships where it was violent, because I saw that in the house. So that, for me, that was my normal. So that's what my brain was looking for. The
environment,
yeah. So again, number one, start to look at what was happening in my life when I was a kid. So we've talked about that. And think, do I want to continue on that journey? Like, do I want to continue believing that story? If the answer is no, then stop blaming everybody else around you. Number one, you have to take responsibility. This isn't, poor me show, sorry. Like, it really isn't. It's like, okay, right, so I need to stop blaming that. Now I need to look at myself in the mirror. What behaviours am I? Because some of the behaviours that I was displaying were not great as well. And I had to take responsibility for that. The choices that I made, yes, I was choosing these awful men, but some of the things that I was doing were not great. So I had to start to look at, instead of looking outside of yourself, how am I behaving? How am I showing up today? And you could even start with your wardrobe. What am I going to wear that's going to make me feel really good today? You know, if you're feeling really low, like obviously for women, we can put on a bit of lipstick, or obviously for men, it's about what am I going to put on that can make me, even though I don't feel great on the inside. But again, not masking. You don't want to mask. But it's like, what are the things that I can do that are positive? How can I start to they say that there's like this hole in the soul, right? How can I start to, instead of putting like drugs, alcohol, smoking, gambling, some of the things that my husband turned to, and I had to really lay that down and get the standards, say, if you don't change this, our marriage is going to end. You know, and he needed to hear that as well. So he was stuck in that poor me, right?
What's got him to that? Like, because obviously, you know, a daughter, and you, you know, and he sees you and doing the stuff you're doing, and yet, like, what his own internal narrative or story? What is obviously him impacting him, and is addiction? Is it from a previous as well, before maybe even you got together? Where?
Yeah, I think if you've got addiction, I think it's something that you
constantly.
Yeah, I think it's something you have. It's like this feeling of, and people can be addicted to food, anything.
Yeah, of course.
Right?
Yeah.
So again, it's that story that's playing in his mind. But again, it's now he's surrounding himself with amazing other amazing men that are changing that narrative, and I can see that for him. So yeah, I think it's about, he's now finding that, he's creating that new story, and I've created a new story, because instead of just running away from it, which is what I wanted to do,
I'm sure.
is I gave
because I guess you
that,
see the again your own boundaries in place, and you've created a new story for yourself, right? And part of that is that I'm not gonna. I can't go down a route of old behaviour patterns that may. I don't know. I'm just speaking. Like there's some of the stuff he's doing bring up old patterns that you've seen in the past that you want to obviously try and avoid, I guess.
Because this is the thing. There's so much stigma around addiction, right? There's so much shame around it, and you know, there needs to be compassion, because it is part of mental health.
Yeah,
it's mental health.
Yeah, of course.
And it's just what's the word? It's just a way of self-medicating to suppress that old story. So instead of just sitting with the feelings, and that's obviously when he's now learning to sit in those feelings and talk about them as well. So yeah, and me to listen without judgment, which is again a practice for me as well. And it's I don't want to be his therapist. He needs to go out and get his own support with that. And this is the first time I'm actually ever talking about this publicly. So I am a little bit nervous about talking about it. But I've asked his permission, because I feel like it needs to be heard, and the way that it impacted me. And you know, I run a really successful business, and I'm living alongside. And last year I felt really a bit like a hypocrite almost. You know, but again, it's a tough one. You know, you're married to someone, but you can't. If you're struggling with addiction, or if you're struggling with any type of addiction, food, alcohol, booze, any of those things, you can only change it yourself. No one can do it for you. It doesn't matter how much I nag him. He has to want it for himself.
It's the same with everything, right? Like we've got you can tell someone, anyone, listen, you can tell someone till they're blue in the face, right? These are the good things. These are the things that are going to help you stop drinking, cold water therapy, whatever, mindfulness, meditate, all these things. We can give them all those advice, but they've got to want to do them things. I'm just wondering, and I'm curious, I guess, about like, do you think, I don't know if you spoke about this with him, but like your success and seeing your success, do you think does that impact him at all? Like, I guess I'm only going from my own experience again as well, and some of the things I've battled with over the last year. I don't know what he does for a living, or where he is in his career, or what he's doing with life, but if that's not on the same path as you, and he sees you as being really, does that impact him because there's still, again, archaic narratives out there around men feeling inadequate maybe about it, because actually my partner is doing really, really well and really successful, and that makes me feel less of a man.
Well, he's very successful in his own right.
Amazing,
so he, I'm attracted to that quality in a man. So he is, the way I see him, again, it's obviously the way I see him is he is very successful. He's an investor into some companies. He's got a recruitment business. So on the outside, you would think he, to me, he looks very successful and happy. Not happy, but his mum, what was the big trigger for him is his mum passed away, and just before the pandemic, and then he works in recruitment for finance, and obviously in finance it's all about risk, and then that business it changed, and now with AI as well, it's changed even more. And I don't think, to answer your question, I don't think that my success, what was the word that you used?
Is impact? Yeah, I didn't know if it
I don't think that it is, but perhaps it might have done, but he hasn't told me about it. But I think that is definitely a narrative. Is probably pressure. I think it's probably pressure for him that. But again, last year when we nearly separated, I gave him I said to him, I'm not gonna play smaller to. This is my life's purpose. This is my passion, and obviously that is sad that a lot of women feel like they need to just give up their passion to make a man happy, and he had a choice. And he is really supportive, his partner. You either support me and want this for me, or else it's not going to work. Because otherwise, I wouldn't be my full expression. I would be then going back to my old patterns of people playing small. Which isn't good for either of us long term. It really isn't.
Because we want to be the best versions of ourselves, don't we? And actually, in a relationship, you want to bring out the best in the other person as well, and that's what makes it healthy, right? And when things don't necessarily work out, it is you want it to be that. That's all we want for ourselves, is just to be the best versions of ourselves, right? And I think you want to. Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, I wasn't sure, obviously, what he did do and what, but like you said, he on paper then successful in his own right, but actually maybe and again I don't know, but that intrinsic success that we mentioned, which is what obviously you found, maybe that there's got to be that, because that's what we're all. That's where real success lies, right? But we have to do that work on ourselves, which is, again, back to not easy, right?
It's not easy, but it's so beautiful to see now he's thriving.
Yeah, amazing.
And again, there's points where he didn't want to be here. So I've obviously had that experience myself, but now I'm seeing it. And for a long time, it sort of felt like I wanted to wake him up, because obviously I want the best for him. I love him.
Yeah, of course.
And it was difficult to watch, but again, I can't, if you're in a relationship and you feel like your partner's nagging you and saying, why don't you try this and why don't you try that, and you're like, oh, and maybe you're even thinking that about what I'm saying today, like if you're listening and you're thinking, oh, just try it. Try it.
But that's the thing, like you said, there's accountability. He's got like what I've heard you say many times, and I think this is really relevant and for anyone listening, that because we can sit around and we can complain about love and we can go, and don't be wrong, I really understand, and depression is different from having a bad day, right? And obviously we're acknowledging that, but I still believe that if people are listening and they're saying, yeah, it's all right for you to say, or they're complaining about something, or they're you know they're having a tough time about something, it is still, there's that element there's still in our control. I think that's what has highlighted for me throughout the conversation, is that you took accountability and control of the situation, right? What can I control? I can't control this, can't control that. I'm in this is the position I'm in, but I can control how I wake up every day and how I show up in the world. I can take a choice on that, and I can make maybe healthier, better decisions to help me on that path. And even if it is just the smallest change, I guess that's the key thing. It's just what would be the smallest change? Like if you say, well, I'm going to wake up, someone's going to listen to this and they're going to wake up tomorrow and go, I want to change things. Lord, what can I do tomorrow to make that small change?
Is think about the future that you want to create, and who is it that you're, if you turn it around and make it more about finding your purpose, and obviously that if you're in a really bad place, that's quite difficult. But what is it that lights you up? What is it that makes you happy? What is it that you do bring to the table? And it might be that you've got children. They need you to be a role model. You know, going back, you get to break that cycle. Whatever past you've had, you can either choose to keep going down that path, or you can choose to break the cycle and be there and be that inspiration for your kids, so that then they're not going through their life and repeating that pattern again. And that's what I believe, that I'm here to be a cycle breaker. And it's just really gorgeous to see so many others that are just waking up. And obviously my company Soul Speaks, you know, seeing people transform that story, and then they're making a difference in the world. And yeah, it's incredible. I just love it. And that's just because I made that choice to take back the control, like you said, and stop performing, because I'm a public speaking coach, and I go to lots of events, and I see people that are performing. But it's about befriending that inner voice. How can you start to like yourself more? So one tip, what would it be? Start listening to podcasts. So you're listening to this now, so you're already on the right track.
This is going to help. Help.
So start listening to podcasts, and so there's mirror work, but I love you in the mirror. It's quite challenging. So just waking up, looking in the mirror at yourself and saying, do you know what, I like you. Just start with I like you first. And then when you start to believe that, because I used to find that really hard, because I really didn't like myself. And when you start to believe that and start to say I love you, and see how it feels when you're actually looking at yourself in the mirror, right into your eyes. And then slowly but surely, if you keep saying it every day, you'll start to believe it.
And it is one of the 5 pillars, again, is relationships. But one of the key elements to relationships is the most important one, is the one we have with ourselves, right? And I think that's something really, probably for me, has been the biggest shift over the last year, is that relationship with myself, like really looking inward, really asking some big questions and finding out and having some uncomfortable conversations with myself. But I think when we do, and I often say this to the kids about self-love, like how important it is to, if they speak badly about themselves, I'm like this or I'm like, would you say that to a friend? And that's the thing, isn't it? It's looking in the mirror, and as you're saying, it's looking in the mirror and going, I feel like this today, or I don't feel, I'm thick, or I'm rubbish at this, or you wouldn't say that to a friend, right? Don't say that to yourself. I think that's such an important message to get across, and as a starting point, right? And even when you don't feel great about yourself, you don't find there will be something that and if it is just be kind to yourself, right?
Yeah,
That's
just be kind to yourself and remember that you are important.
Yeah.
Like, you are important. You know, we have this beautiful life. We're born into this crazy world, right? And there's a reason. There is a reason. Obviously, you need to find your reason. But there will be a reason why you're here. And maybe that's to be a good mum or dad. Or maybe it is that you are a great artist. Maybe it is that we're all different. We all have a fingerprint which is unique. Every single human being, that blows my mind anyway. And your unique expression is supposed to be here. You matter. And you matter to someone. So yeah, just keep showing up. Just dig deep and just find what is it. And actually, what a really good indicator is what did I really enjoy doing when I was a kid? Going back to that, like, what was the thing that lit me up? So mine was talking.
Yeah. I love it.
Mine was talking, but I used to get told off a lot for it. Well,
Now I'm doing it.
now.
Yeah. I love that. There was one. Listen, we're coming towards the end. Before we do our closing edition, there was one thing I wanted. Our relationship, I guess we met based on and connected through the power of vulnerability. Right, you was vulnerable with me that day, and it was just we connected. And you, again today, you've shown up and been your true self and been vulnerable. And I think especially because I'm in that space as well. I'm trying to being as open and vulnerable as I can be as well. And I shared that episode last week. But it's there. I'm really keen, especially with online and social media and how we show up in the world and what we do. What's your take on that? The difference between vulnerability and oversharing? Maybe is there where do you sit with that?
Oh, this is a good question. Really good question. I'm an oversharer.
You and me both. I think this is why I am, because I'm asking for my own curiosity. I'm like, where does the line?
So again, my job is to support my clients to build brands and to be visible online and then go off and speak on different events and all of those things. So this is a really great question. It depends what your brand is. So one of my brand values is vulnerability. So I live by my truth. I'm a truth seeker. So even though some of the parts of this conversation has been uncomfortable for me, I believe that because I've been vulnerable, it actually gives people around you to open up and want to be vulnerable too. So we connected on that level. We're like, oh, she's real. She's a real person. I like her. She had a real conversation in this suited event, and I was wearing an orange suit as well.
You looked amazing.
And I like to sparkle in a room like that. And obviously I'm not for everyone, and that's okay. I'm not everybody's cup of tea, and that's what it's supposed to be. I won't be for everybody, and it's about actually being me and being comfortable to be me. And I wasn't for a very long time. And vulnerability for me, obviously there is levels of it. If you're building a brand and you want to be very authoritative, and I wouldn't recommend oversharing, because although my brand is very authoritative, so I've got that blend. It's playful, authoritative, and I am very serious as a businesswoman. But I'm just all of me, and the people that when you're actually all of you, so the crying, the laughter, and I'm very theatrical, as you can tell. If you're all of you, it attracts the people that are supposed to be for you, and that's the key. And it repels the people that are not. So again, if you're building a brand where you want to be perceived as a certain way, then maybe not overshare so much. But again, is that then you being in your truth?
See, I agree, because I am the nard like that. again, one of the reasons I do the podcast is because I'm just curious about it, and it's mainly therapy for me to ask questions that I'm seeking for. But I remember putting that episode out last week, and I really shared about, you know, my journey last year, and I did about whether I should release it and whether I shouldn't. But actually, what's come of it, the amount of messages I've received of people going, thank you for doing that, and thank you for being so open. I feel like that at a minute, and I always think, like, and I don't know if you're the same, but if the conversations I have on me sharing my journey helps one person who's feeling a little bit like that, then maybe that's enough, right? That's enough to help. But one thing you mentioned there that I'm really just keen to just tap into about the people pleasing. Again, something I've really always been that way. Like, what do you remember the point where you was able to let go of the people? Like, because I'll ask a question in a minute, one second. but for me, like, I always found it difficult. I felt like I had to be liked by everyone, and I'm really fortunate. I've got a massive community and network and people, but I got to a point where I was able to let go. Actually, not everyone's going to like me, but that's okay. Like, I used to be uncomfortable with that, but I feel okay with that now. I'm confident that people won't say I'm a horrible person or against my values, or they might not like what I stand for, what I do, but I can still they won't go, oh, he's fucked me over, or he's that type of person. Do you know what I mean? So do you remember a point where you was able to stop people pleasing enough, or as much, and
It was only a couple of years ago.
Really?
It was only a couple of years ago, really. I knew that I had to stop. I had to stop people pleasing. I had to say no to things, and of course, not everybody's going to like that. Because I had to say yes to myself. Every time you're saying yes and you really mean no, and what you're actually saying is no to yourself.
I love that.
So
it's brilliant.
it's like weighing things up around, and of course sometimes you are going to slip back into it if your pattern. Where I really noticed it is when I got married, and I was on my Hindu, and I was with a lot of my older friends who I hadn't spoken to for a long time, and I really slipped back into that role. And I just thought, I'm saying no to me. It's abandoning yourself. That's what it is. And again, we could talk about it for hours, but it's the conditioning of being a child. I would imagine that if this is something that you struggle with, that you are probably very similarly to me, has had parents that you wanted to please for them to see you. So that's where it comes from. So what happens in that scenario is that where you're trying to please them or put them first, you lose yourself, and you're not actually showing up in the world as your truest expression. You're going through, then it's seeking approval from everybody else because that feels safe to you. So it's for anchoring in your new level of safety and saying, who am I? Who do I want to be? And if people aren't okay with that, then that says more about them than it does about me.
Love that. Wow. Amazing. We have a closing tradition on this podcast.
Okay.
So these are my storytelling cards, which you might have seen.
Okay.
So I'm gonna ask you to choose a card, any card, then pass it back to me, and I'll read you the question.
Okay. All right. You're not giving them to me.
No.
Right. Okay. I just wanted to also share before you asked me this question is obviously when you said about the oversharing thing. Like today, it's the first time I've ever spoke about the thing with my husband, but I asked his permission first. So although I'll overshare everything about me, I don't. Again, I'm quite good with. I'm actually very okay with who I am as a person, but actually felt uncomfortable talking about my husband because I'm obviously protecting him. So
that's a
obviously,
really brilliant message. And to be honest, I'm really, because I said the same. Like when I shared last week, I shared the episode with my wife beforehand.
Yeah.
I said, like, if you don't want this to go up, we won't, and she was okay with it. So you're right. It's that. It's asking that permission. It's fine. We can do our own thing, right?
Yeah.
And we're living our truth and we're doing what we want to do. But if there are other people involved, definitely, like, you've got to seek.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it's not, they might not want that, and I think that's and grateful that he was behind that as well, and being able, because again, like you being able to share his story, especially for the work I'm doing, like I know, and you can thank him for me, because I know that that's going to help people that are listening, and the men that are.
Well, yeah, get to meet him at Acumen. I'm
amazing.
bringing him with me.
Amazing.
So,
I can't wait.
and he's obviously been through that journey, and he's coming out the other side, and I'm so proud of him.
Amazing.
And for me to say that, I was really, 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 I was done.
Yeah, sure.
But
Amazing.
It took
And
that
again,
for him to wake up.
and that's it. Great for him, and what a great recognition, like, for him as well, and credit to him to be able to take accountability and responsibility and go, I'm going to make changes then, to which he obviously clearly has done, right? To for you guys to be here now and moving into the next chapter, which is amazing.
And I think that he's really good at speaking, and I believe he's quite early in his journey right now. So, but I think he's going to do something really good with it. I'm waiting to see.
Well, he's got someone who's an inspiration in front of him, right, to be able to help him. But cool. Well, here we go. This is your question. So, what helps you stay emotionally present with loved ones?
What helps me stay emotionally present with loved ones? By befriending my little voices in the head. So I've got quite a tricky, challenging scenario. So I'm just going to give you like a actual example. So for me, Christmas times are interesting, like many of us, right?
Yeah.
And it's just, again, being present with how I'm feeling, but also knowing that it's okay to have a little break and take myself off and maybe sit in the toilet for a little while and ground my energy. That's okay. So again, not to people please too much, and not to react is a very useful tool to have. Is learning to respond rather than react. So when you have tricky scenarios in families, then
take yourself to the toilet.
Take yourself off and just remind yourself who the F you are.
Brilliant. Oh, wow. What it's the wonderful, amazing conversation I knew it would be. So I'm so grateful for just you showing up, and I guess like for me, on that day, coming up to me and speaking to me and being brave enough to be as vulnerable as you were, in like literally just as we met each other, and it was amazing to get that connection straight away, and then to have reached out and come on here and shared again so openly and honestly and vulnerably, without a doubt, this conversation will help people. And you are such an inspiration and a beautiful person inside and out. So thank you so much for being here and showing up as you have. I'm genuinely, truly grateful. Thank you.
No, thank you for having me. And that's my wish, is that if this impacts one person, and I know there's at least a handful of men that I will send it to as soon as it's released. So it's just... and I'd love, if you've listened to the podcast and I've helped you in any way, then I'm sure that the ways to reach out to me will be in the show notes. I'll
put everything in the show notes, and how to connect with you and your website and stuff. So definitely. I'm sure there'll be a load of people that will listen that will hopefully reach out, and because your story and just what you're doing is going to help and inspire so many people. So thank you.
And I'm also going to give a free gift for anybody that needs support with visibility, and public speaking is really the business that I run. There's a free gift called the 9 Reasons Why You're Not Getting Paid to Speak that will be available for you to download. But obviously this conversation has really been more about the mental health and finding that spark. So if you are somebody that is outwardly successful But inwardly you are struggling to befriend that voice, do reach out to me. So I'd love to support.
Amazing. Thank you again. It's been amazing. I'm sure people will be in touch. So keep doing the amazing stuff you're doing. And that, as they say, is a wrap.